All right, hello and welcome to the Carl Jackson Show. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Lots that I want to get to today. I hope you guys checked out my podcast with EJ and Tony, the economist from the Heritage Foundation. We talked about Liberation Day, did that yesterday and put it out, I believe, last night or this morning. And so hopefully you follow me on X or Facebook. I believe I posted it there, so you can check out the link there, or just go to the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. All right. So anyway, here's the deal. I got a lot that I want to talk about today, including that I'm not going to spend as much time on tariffs. I am going to encourage you guys to please listen to that podcast with EJ and Tony, the economist. I do want to play a clip from Caroline Levitt. This is what she had to say. Obviously, the markets are reacting today. The Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq. The market was just wild. They were down. I expected. That to occur. For those of you that may not have a lot of money, I would put it this way. Basically, stocks are on sale right now. And now, listen, I'm not trying to be flippant about this whatsoever. I am a free trader. I really am. I'm a free market guy, free market capitalist. But I do believe in fair trade. I don't know how accurate some of the numbers were in the listings that Trump and his team had come back with. I was going to put those up. I was going to go through those numbers. I went through some of them with EJ and Tony, but they were just coming out. But there turns out there's some tricks in the way those numbers are calculated. So I don't want to be misleading in any way, shape, or form, except to say I believe in the long run that these tariffs are going to be good for America as long as they're being used as leverage, and as long as they're being used for fair trade practices. In every instance, we're not going to get a perfect, hey, I guess there's a baseline of 10% trade. In every instance, we're not going to get, hey, those people are they're taxing our imports at X amount or X percentage, so we're going to do exactly the same. That's not necessarily how it's going to be, how it's going to work. I believe the goal is to get as much free trade as possible. In some places, like South Korea, there was a miscalculation where virtually we do have. It was like less than 1% that we pay in tariffs importing into places like South Korea. So wherever we can have more free trade, I want it. And mostly, I think what Trump is trying to do is, again, use these tariffs as leverage to bring a manufacturing base back to the United States of America. Now, guys, let me say this, and I know I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, but it's true. Every job that once existed in the United States, manufacturing base, is not going to come back. However, I do believe that new industry will pop up where there'll be manufacturing type jobs in different industries that'll pop up. And I think what we need to do is, instead of, because right now, I think a lot of countries are flirting with China. I mean, they build cheap stuff. You know what I mean? They export cheap stuff. So I think this is why it's so important for us to slap more tariffs on China. But I think a lot of countries are starting to flirt with China. And frankly, I think these tariffs are a way of getting these other nations' attention, so they will stop flirting with China and they will come back to the big dog that is America, that's going to treat them right. I don't say that to be narcissistic or cocky or arrogant or anything like that. But the truth of the matter is, the world needs a big brother. I know people say all the time, even conservatives, oh, the world doesn't need a police. And it isn't about being the world's police. But I got to tell you, if we're not the big brother in the world, somebody else is going to be the big brother. So do we want it to be the United States of America, or do we want it to be China? That's one way to think of this issue with tariffs. Also, I talked about leverage when it comes to the tariffs. I do believe that it's a national security issue too, as well as an economic issue. Again, just making sure that we keep China on their toes. I think this is extremely important when it comes to when it comes to using these tariffs. But I do want to say this, and I made mention of this, I believe, briefly in the podcast with EJ and Tony. And again, please check that out. All things social media at Carl Jackson Show, at the Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. Check out our podcast, YouTube, Rumble, Salem Podcast Network, wherever you go to get your podcast. But I would say I would say this as well, and this kind of disturbs me. And I got other stories that I want to get to today. This Texas teen that was stabbed to death. Guys, I didn't even know that story. I'm ashamed to admit. And I heard about it, but didn't read about it. I want to talk about that a little bit. Video that I want to play. There's more on this trans shooting that happened. This transgender shooting that happened in this Christian school. That is some news there has popped up. Illegal immigrants that have infiltrated voter rolls. I want to talk about that. So there's plenty to talk about, but I do want to make mention of this. When it comes to this trade, not necessarily a trade war, but this liberation day, and I want to see where this goes. I have a problem with the Republican Party and not with Trump. And EJ Antoni touched on it yesterday. See, these tariffs are a tool. Now, I realize that Trump is the main honcho, but let me ask you guys this question. I just want to be real. When Democrats get in office, whether you like them or not, they're ready to go. They've got a plan, they've got a vision. They want to destroy this country. They want to make sure that the country turns into a socialist country, right? They want big government. They want us all on Obamacare. They want to ultimately a single payer style healthcare system. They want to censor conservatives. They want to censor Christians and people of faith. They want to intimidate Christians, pro lifers. Look at what they did. J6ers, anybody that was considered a patriot. I mean, they hunted them down. You had a few hundred people that went into the Capitol building. You had a couple hundred people that maybe could it would have been classified as a riot. Initially, a lot of these people were just charged with trespassing until Joe Biden told Merrick Garland to step it up, and then all of a sudden they started arresting people like crazy. So we know that the left will use fear and intimidation, and they will use the brute force of the federal government to get their way. It's really scary. But I got to tell you, there's something that I admire about the left, and I hate admitting this, but there's something that I admire about the left. You guys notice that when they come into office, they already have a plan ready to go. Like Obamacare, like how did they come up with Obamacare? I mean that quickly, like they were ready to go. Now I know we had Mitt Romney that had basically created the earlier version of Obamacare when he was the governor somewhere up north or whatever. So I get that. And Jonathan Gruber that worked for Mitt Romney or helped him develop that plan, then went to help Obama figure out Obamacare. And the goal was to make sure that healthcare became so miserable and so unaffordable that people would beg for single payer healthcare. But the bottom line is they had that plan ready to go. The Green New Deal, which they lied to us, the Democrat Party did. They call it the Inflation Reduction Act. That was ready to go. Republicans get in, and now we have a situation where Democrats or I'm sorry, Senate Republicans and House Republicans can't seem to come to a deal when it comes to budgetary spending. They're waiting on Trump, and they're not waiting on Trump. Trump wants a big, beautiful bill. But I just gotta be real with you guys. I'm getting a little frustrated because my fear is that a lot of these people will stab Trump in the back as soon as they can do it, and nobody's talking about this. Everybody wants to sing "Kumbaya." Yes, I like everything that I'm seeing with Trump and Doge. I'm like, man, bring it on. I want more. Give me some Doge. What's that rap song? Gay, give me some more. Like, give me some Doge. That's what I would say. I absolutely love it. But I'm looking at the Republican Party and I'm like, they're not ready yet. We're still debating budget ideas. You mean Trump won in November? We couldn't figure this out. We're still under Biden's economy because we're still living under Biden's continued resolution. So we're just going to pass this continued resolution, and we're not going to grow government because we're going to just stay flat, stay level, right? Continued resolution. So we're not going to exceed Biden's spending. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Tariffs are good for leverage, but they need to be coupled with or married to deregulation and tax cuts. You tell me why. I heard Senator Lindsey Graham on a program today trying to figure out a novel way to make sure how Trump's tax cuts could be made permanent through budget reconciliation. And I'm like, that's great. That's swell. How come we didn't already have a plan together? Trump won in November. Were we hoping he didn't win? Those of you in DC, were you just not sure he was going to win? Like, shouldn't you have a plan regardless, even if he didn't win, to have a counterpoint to share with the American people? So, guys, I'm looking at these tariffs and I'm looking at what's happening and how the left is going to use this, despite the fact that we went through a terrible economy with Biden. Just consider the COVID lockdowns and all the businesses, mom and pop shops that were destroyed. Some of you lost your livelihood. Some of you guys were forced to get a jab or lose your jobs, and the economy was miserable. We went through a recession, and you had the mainstream media lying about it completely and utterly. How much time, Gabe? And nothing. Nothing, nothing. And Republicans get in office when we should be ready to run and we're focused on Trump's tariffs. Hey, Republicans, where are those tax cuts? Can you give a brother some tax cuts so Trump isn't struggling here? Good Lord, man. We'll be back, guys. I gotta read in that. You guys stay tuned. All right. Listen, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. We are on X. We are on are we on X? Are we broadcasting on X, Gabe? All right, so we're broadcasting on X. Hello, people out there in X land, YouTube and Rumble as well. But also, please subscribe wherever you. Huh? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Blue Anons. Really appreciate you. So please subscribe wherever you go to get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. Again, X, Instagram, and Facebook, as far as social media is concerned. We're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, Salem Podcast Network, wherever you go to get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. Okay, so now let me share with you guys. Here we go. Forgive me here because I want to talk to you guys about my pillow. They've got a new special out, and I want to make sure that I read it. And my eyesight isn't that great without my glasses and these little phones. I used to have really great eyesight, but I kept reading little phones, and I'm suffering what many of you are suffering. All right, so now, guys, listen. My Pillow is excited to announce that they are extending the mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. This is your chance to grab incredible deals on some of My Pillow's most popular and newly released items. For example, you can save $40 on the new spring My Pillow bed sheets, available in any size and any color. These luxurious sheets are designed for maximum comfort and breathability. They're perfect for a great night's sleep. Looking for a meaningful gift? You can save 30% on the brand new Mike crosses that are inspired by the one that Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. These beautifully crafted crosses come in both men's and women's designs and are proudly made in the US of A. Get the 6-piece bath or kitchen towel sets for just $39.98. Initial quantities are extremely limited, so please, guys, do not wait. Again, also, don't forget the standard My Pillow. All right, I love that My Pillow. I guarantee you, if you use that My Pillow, you will love it. And then when you get it, you may have to throw it in the dryer, make sure that it fluffs properly. And then it's perfect. At first, I got it, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Put it in a dryer. I, I can't sleep without it. God's honest truth. All right, so don't forget the best-selling standard My Pillow. Now that's just $17.98. That is insane. All right, go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Carl, CARL, or call 800-858-0263. Again, go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Carl, CARL. I don't spell it like the communists. Or give them a call at 800-858-0263. All right, I'll bring you guys news from the tip sheet as well. But a lot of trade talk that's going on out there. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and play. Caroline Levitt had something to say about this. And then again, there's so many stories that I do want to go on to. I don't want this to be the entire topic of this podcast. Again, I have interviewed EJ Antoni, an economist with the Heritage Foundation. I encourage you to please check out that interview. But one thing is clear. EJ and Tony, and I believe as well that these tariffs are a good thing, kind of shaking up the world, resettling things. I think it has economic ramifications, manufacturing ramifications, national security ramifications. But I'm asking the Republicans, guys, it's time to step up to the plate and not leave Trump out there on a limb. These tariffs should come with tax cuts. And frankly, I feel like this is just me. I'm not an economist, but I've spoken to plenty. I feel like the tax cuts should have come first. Because I'm concerned that a bunch of rhinos and weak-kneed Republicans, if this lasts too long, because again, guys, remember what we're experiencing right now is completely historic. Who do you know? What president do you know that's been has been willing to come in and shake up the status quo like this? We've never experienced anything. I certainly haven't in my lifetime. Frankly, none of us have. Going back to presidents before, the closest we would come in the modern era is Ronald Reagan. All right. And so what we're seeing now is absolutely and living through is absolutely historic. Let me play Caroline Levitt. This is what she had to say in regards to what people are experiencing and the Liberation Day, as Trump is calling it. Cut number 74. If you would play that, Gabe, this is Caroline Levitt.
To anyone on Wall Street this morning, I would say trust in President Trump. This is a president who is doubling down on his proven economic formula from his first term. We saw wages increase. We saw inflation come down. We had a Trump energy boom. We had the largest tax cuts in history. And that's exactly what the president intends to do following his historic announcement yesterday for reciprocal tariffs. It's the golden age rule for the golden age of America. And the United States of America is no longer going to be cheated by foreign nations around the world. And as the president declared yesterday, this is indeed a national emergency. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit and counting. We've had 90,000 factories close in the last couple of decades. Since 1997, Americans have been put out of 5 million manufacturing jobs. These are not just statistics. These are real American lives that have been impacted. And it's about time we have a president who actually does something about it. This is going to restore more wealth, more jobs, more economic prosperity to our great country.
You know what the tariffs are? If you stop and think about this, you know what tariffs are. Gabe, this is going to be a good one. You got to make sure you want to get this down. The tariffs are a middle finger to those that have ignored the politicians, the pundits, the media elites that have ignored flyover country. That's what these tariffs are. I mean, honestly, just think about this. Just think about this. Look at what you just heard Caroline Levitt. These tariffs, look at the people that Trump is bringing in. United Auto Workers, guys, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a big union fan. I'm not a fan of unions. I understand what Trump is doing. I've just never been a fan of unions. Frankly, I've always believed that if you get out there and hustle and you use your God-given talents, you can make something. And frankly, I think sometimes union members actually get ripped off because they learn to buy, or many of them buy into the system. And then you have these fat cats that are the leaders of these unions that live like kings. I mean, it's absolutely insane to me. And so I'm not the biggest fan of unions, but I do understand the argument, and I do understand the desire for more manufacturing jobs. And honestly, what Trump is doing is keeping his promise to the blue collar worker. Guys, one thing that you will hear me talk about, and actually, I got to clean it up on my X page, on my Facebook page, again, at Carl Jackson Show, at the Carl Jackson Show. I am a guy that is for the blue collar resurgence, the middle class. Understand that there has to be a middle class. A middle class, if you will, is a buffer. Man, Gabe, I'm just thinking of some good stuff today. The middle class is a is a buffer against globalism. No, seriously, sit and think about it. The middle class is a buffer against globalism. That's why the left hates the middle class. That's why the left wants to hollow out the middle class. And then you get a bunch of rhino Republicans that don't think anything. Oh, we got to get along with everybody. America isn't necessarily the big. No, we got to be the big dog. That's okay. That's not saying we're better than, but guess what? Our system is. America is exceptional. Our Constitution is exceptional. If you don't like it, get to stepping. I don't get this. But the middle class, man, Gabe, I gotta write that down. That's so good. Guys, sometimes this happens, all right? Sometimes brilliance just exudes. You don't know when it's gonna happen, but when it happens, you gotta write it down. All right. So that's what so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm dead serious too. For those of you that are watching live, forgive me. I'm not really this arrogant. Gabe is. I'm not really this arrogant, but I want to make sure that I don't forget what I'm saying. But the middle class is a buffer against globalism. All right, so I'm writing that down because that's good, and I don't want to forget it. And since I'm in the middle of the show, I will um, forget it. All right, so but seriously, the middle class is a buffer against globalism, and that's what Trump is doing. For years, politicians have ignored the middle class. I even remember this. I forget his name. I believe he's still in Congress, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a Republican in the George W. Bush era that wrote a bill to get rid of the light bulb, the incandescent light bulb. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I mean, they closed down factories. I'm like, what for? And then you use these fluorescents, LEDs, and all this stuff. What about the people that want to use, incandescents? They work okay. I understand some fluorescents may last longer, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes the lighting isn't right. But why did we have to get rid of them? It made no sense to me. People were still buying them. People still liked them. There were others out there. The LEDs were out there. Fluorescent bulbs were out there, but people still like their incandescent bulbs. I happen to be one of them. And there were plenty of people like me because I would go into Home Depot, I'd go into places like Lowe's, and I'd see people shopping for them just like I was. But we just, oh, it's over. We're going to get rid of those. And when we think about those things, we don't think about the lives that are being impacted, the jobs that are being impacted. Now, if they need to go, I mean, technology changes. I get that. I understand that. But that didn't need to happen. And you had a Republican that was participating in that. And that happens far too often. So these politicians, these pundits, these elites, these globalists have been giving the middle finger to blue collar workers to fly over country. And Trump said enough is enough. And that's exactly what's happening. I'm not saying this is going to be easy. There's people out there that's trying to blow smoke up your butt. A lot of them probably getting paid online to get clicks. I get it. I'm just being real with you. This is going to be painful to some extent. What would make it less painful is if Republicans would hurry their butts up and make sure that deregulation occurs and that tax cuts occur so that you could feel some relief. Now, you are feeling some relief. You can go to the grocery store. Prices are starting to come down. Gas prices are starting to come down. But we need to codify this stuff. We need to make this stuff law. We need to make Trump's executive orders law. And we sit here, and I'm going to beat up on Democrats here momentarily. But sometimes, guys, we got to be real. We got to beat up on Republicans. We got to call our own team. Because when Trump leaves, we're not guaranteed an election win in 2028. We're not guaranteed the midterm wins in 2026. So we got to make sure that these fools get this stuff implemented and don't leave. Because sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, I wonder if some of these Republicans, not the Freedom Caucus, a lot of people hate on the Freedom Caucus. I love them. But I wonder if a lot of these people are just waiting for Trump to leave. That's why I think it's so dangerous to sit here and to have this continued resolution. I get there's no spending, but to me, it just shows that Republicans are lazy, that they weren't even ready for the fight. And I don't get that. And then everybody out there wants to just make Republicans sound good all the time. I say that as a Republican, but man, when Trump leaves, I want to make sure that you're well off and that I'm well off. What's wrong with that? I just get frustrated with these fools because I never feel like they're ready for the fight. It's just like I said before. How the hell can Democrats walk in on day one and have a big old Obamacare package? How could they have a Green New Deal ready to go? Because they're ready to win. And when they win, they hit the ground running. We win, and we're still waiting months on end for Republicans to do something. It drives me nuts. I don't want to be a cheerleader. I want to be a freaking winner. That's just the way I roll. That's just my DNA. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. There's more. I said I wasn't going to talk about these tariffs, but it's Gabe's fault. All right. He shouldn't have played that clip. That clip made me think of some other things. So you just have to understand that this stuff happens sometimes. So anyway, listen, you are listening to the Carl Jackson Show. I appreciate you tuning in. Here's the deal, guys. Every 11 minutes, because this is also formatted for TV over the weekends. So I got to take a quick break. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys stay tuned. I got more coming. This is the Carl Jackson Show. Okay. All right. A couple of comments. Let's do it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. African Botwe. And did I say that right? African Botwe? Two? African Botwe 2. Anyway, I hope I'm not butchering that, but thank you for subscribing to the show. I really do appreciate that. Oh, man, thank you. Hey, Marilyn. Oh, man, it's good to see you out there. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Hey, Wild, appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, they need to step it up. They really do. I mean, when I guess we can go ahead and record. I'll just roll with some of the stuff that I have here. But I didn't think I was going to talk on tariffs this long. I really didn't. But I'm looking at Trump hanging out there. Gabe, let me know when we're rolling, if we're rolling. Okay, so I'm rolling. All right, so we're live here. So we're live here, and yeah, and I'm a little frustrated. And this is a thing, you know. Sometimes, and I love all of my conservative and Republican brothers and sisters in the fight. I love it, but sometimes I feel like there's a bunch of fluff out there because everybody wants to. I'm not even sure what the word or the terminology is, but we want to sit here and we want to make sure that everybody feels good. And listen, I love what Trump is doing, and frankly, I'm okay with using the tariffs as leverage. I'm not sure the numbers that were rolled up. I wouldn't use those numbers. There's some I don't want to say shenanigans to them, but just some of those numbers may be off. We didn't get the full pictures with the full picture, if you will, with some of those numbers that were released. But nonetheless, I do believe that tariffs are a good thing, and I do believe that with our friends and with some developing nations where people are our friends, it's okay to have some trade deficits if they have product that we don't have, as long as they're not charging us major tariffs. All right, because we want to be able to sell our products around the world too. And what the left was trying to do, in my opinion, on these globalists were trying to do is they were trying to box us out of the world market. That's essentially what tariffs were doing. And not in all instances, but I believe that China was taking advantage of that. So our main adversary is China. That should be our main focus. All of these other people, that's fine. We can go back and forth with them. Canada is ready to come to the floor. Mexico will not levy retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. hat tip town hall. The Mexican government will not impose retaliatory tariffs if President Donald Trump's proposed duties go into effect on April 2nd. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, that's already has already occurred, indicated yesterday that the nation will look at other ways to navigate the imminent tariff war. Mexico's economy is considered one of the most vulnerable to Trump's tariffs due to its close trade relations to the United States. The Latin American nation is home to many foreign-owned vehicle assembly plants operated by companies including Ford, General Motors, BMW, Volkswagen, and Toyota. I love my Toyotas. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, you can hate me, but a brother loves me some Toyotas. All right. More than 80% of Mexican exports go to the United States, including around 3 million vehicles a year. Honestly, I was looking for an older model Forerunner, literally like a 2016. I never buy new cars. I have this thing, and I can't buy it now. I won't buy it now. I don't have the money to buy it. But I found a couple of models that I really liked. I really love Toyota Forerunners. And there's a 2016 model that I wanted, or an 18, but the 18 was just a little, a little too much. I like, I like making deals. I know some good mechanics, and it's just fun to me. It's just fun to me. So typically, I'll buy older cars. I'll buy them with low miles if I can find them. Keep them up real good mechanically. Even the exterior. I got a brother that does detailing, so he always makes the cars look nice when I do get them. So I'll switch them out. I think the longest I've had a car is maybe 4 years, because I always buy old cars, and so I don't have to worry about depreciation. All right, so that's a lesson. That's a lesson for another day. So I'm gonna be hit. All right, I'm gonna be hit by these tariffs, but I'm willing to I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice. All right. Having said that, I guess there's what else? What else do I want to get to? Okay. There are some more stories that I definitely want to get to. This one is a bit heart wrenching. I want to play a video for you. There's no good way to segue to what I'm going to be talking about next, but I do want to. I think I beat up on Republicans enough tonight. I want to beat up on some Democrats, and I think a culture that Democrats have started here in the United States. A Texas teen was stabbed at a track event, and I want to play this video. This is his twin brother. I think this just occurred yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But this is his twin brother describing the event. Gabe, let's roll cut number 75, please.
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at the track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." He's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. And I tried to help him, but
it was just senseless.
It was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like a man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid.
Okay. 17-year-old man, young man, dead, gone. You got this black kid that did it. Honestly, in my opinion, he should get the death penalty. I know there's a lot of people out there that disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But when you know for sure somebody did it, and they did something as cold and heartless and senseless as that, I believe that the only way, the only right and moral thing to do is to help them meet God a little sooner. Well, Carl, it's not it's not economical, and I get all that. It doesn't have to be as costly as it is. Quite frankly, I don't know why that's never an argument. But I believe the only way you deter some of this stuff is to the death penalty. And I hate there's a lot, and I think you have to be 100% sure. I am one of these people. Listen, if there's DNA evidence that proves, I think people need to be able to go through that process. But I think I do think that's important. But I'll say this: this is the culture that we're experiencing today. The what I call the Tesla terrorism, the BLM riots, the Antifa riots, the Jasmine Crockett's out there. I got some videos from Charlemagne. Is no God. I'll play momentarily too. The attitudes and the mentality that Democrats have and what they're cultivating. I believe they're cultivating an army of. I don't want to go so far. I think I've said this before, brown shirts, but definitely they're cultivating an army of people that are going to not just resist Trump's policies, but they're going to beat you down in the street, and they're going to stab you. Guys, unfortunately, what these young kids just experienced, sadly, that was his twin brother. He's lost his brother forever. The parents have lost their child forever. That cat is his twin, so he's going to feel it. He's never going to forget the look on his brother's face. And guys, this is normal. This is normal, sadly, far too often in urban communities. I'm not saying it doesn't happen outside, but if you grew up where I grew up, This is normal. This is how people settle disputes. And now Democrats, even in leadership, you heard Jasmine Crockett knock Ted Cruz over the head. You don't think this stuff has an impact? Oh, whites are systemically racist. America's systemically racist. You don't think it has an impact? You don't think probably that child's mother has told him whites are racist? Or you don't think that's part of that story? I guarantee you that's part of that story. This is what Democrats were on, or this is what their policies were on. I'm guessing that guy, that kid, Carmelo Anthony is his name, like the basketball player. I feel bad, right? You don't, if you're Carmelo Anthony, you don't want to be associated with this guy, but that's his name. He just ruined his life. His life is over, and as well it should be. But this is insane. This is what we're dealing with. So the left wants you focused on Trump's tariffs. They want you to believe the sky is falling. They want you to believe that you didn't endure the worst 4 years economically that you've probably seen in your lifetime, except if you were alive during the Jimmy Carter era. But they don't want you to realize or to remember just 2 months ago or a few months ago that you were living in complete and utter hell. All right. Support the show. Send a super chat. Help us spread the word. We would certainly appreciate that. You are listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Gabe, how much time do we have? Okay. So, all right. Let me give you guys another story. But that story just broke my heart. There they are at a track event of all places. The kid. Now, I don't know. Who knows? The kid, the way he said that, hey, get out of my, he could have said it real nasty, like, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got to learn to walk away in diffuse situations. There's been situations that I've encountered, even in the last couple of few years, where I'm like, wow, people are just crazy. And I'm sitting there, and I'm somebody. I'm just keeping it real. I'm a 2A guy, and so I'm always prepared. And so, but I always try to diffuse a situation because I never wanted to go there. You got Democrats, in my opinion, that have built people that never want to diffuse situations, but really want to ignite situations. I think we saw it there. We see it with the Tesla terrorism. All right, more when we get back. Got to take a small break. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. All right. Oh, yeah. I have this video. I want to get to this. I'll get to this when we get back. CNN. I hate what they're doing to us. Yeah, I'll take some comments. And also just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. We would certainly appreciate it. Rate and review it, like it. It means a lot. It helps a lot. To be honest, guys, one of the, and I'm just being real with you, for those of you, I don't know how else to be, honestly. I don't know why I say that. But in this business, I all I've known is radio. They threw me into podcasting. I was never into podcasting. I didn't even listen to podcasts. I mean, occasionally I would watch a YouTube video, maybe a Joe Rogan or something, but I never really paid attention to podcasts. I love Dan Bongino. So I would watch him on YouTube, and then he got on the radio and I started listening to him. I really liked him, but Salem was like, dude, you need to, boost your numbers and podcasting and stuff like that. So this is where I am now. So radio, I do fine. That's my first love. I absolutely love radio. But this stuff is important. So, and that's why I always hated people out there. Hey, subscribe to this, but I got to do it. All right. I'm just being real. It's not the most comfortable thing, but I've got to do it. So I do have to ask you to subscribe, and also please, because it is important in this business. All right. And please subscribe to the podcast. Please follow me, X, Instagram, and Facebook. We have any questions, comments out there, Gabe, before we go back on? How do we know what the Chinese are putting into the RX drugs they supply? What if they put, man, listen, you don't have to convince me of that. That's why, listen, was that, who was that again? Gail, listen, you do not have to convince me of that, Gail. You're absolutely right. When I didn't realize, maybe you knew beforehand, but I certainly did not. I did not know how much of our pharmaceuticals the Chinese controlled until the COVID lockdowns hit. I mean, that's insane. Our number one adversary in the world. There's no way. So that is extremely important. Extremely important. But we're in a race against time because as much as for those of you out there and like myself that like some of these tariffs, it's going to take these companies time to bring to bring manufacturing to get the base really going. Some will be able to crank things up right away. I think GM. I saw earlier somewhere GM, Stellantis. I don't even know where I read that. They're planning on bringing. I think it was on Breitbart. Actually, I'll mention that when I come back on because it's got to be recorded. Sorry, guys. Are there any other questions or comments before we? Before we? Okay, let's go through those. Okay, as a tradesman, we don't always know what will happen along the way of a project, but we go into our building for results. What? I didn't see that last part, Gabe. Sorry. To not even try is stupid. Yay, tariff. No, I listen. I agree. Um, I, y- I agree. I feel like we need more tradesmen now. I know technology is coming, but I believe with more manufacturing coming back to the United States of America, there's always going to be room for tradesmen. And I think that is so crucial. And I think that's so important. And I hate the fact that so many people are. America has become a society where everybody's got to go to college. And I do believe I'm one of these people that believe that, yes, some Americans should go to college. Some people belong in college. You know, the brainiacs out there, you look at them, you're like, you need to go to college. You need to be a doctor, lawyer, something, engineer, blah, blah, blah. They're there and you know them. And then there's some people that are like, nah, bro, you need to work with your hands. You need to stick with this. You need, and that's not that shouldn't be a slight. That shouldn't be denigrating. That's just the way that it is, and it's okay. I mean, frankly, guys, when I'm not on radio, I make money with my hands. Okay, I can save. I save. I invest, and I don't want to always do. I love to be doing this full time. I'm not there yet. So you're right. All right. Any more? And we'll go back. Okay, one more. This is from they vegan vegan maga. You're great, bro. I used to love listening to you when you would take over for the officer. Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate that. All right, yeah. Officer Tatum is a good guy. All right, so okay. Let's go on. I do want to read something from Breitbart, so let's go ahead. Let me take a swig here, and we'll go back live. I appreciate you guys hanging with me for these segments. If you ever wonder why does this cat just do 11-minute segments, because we have to cut them for the Salem News Channel too. So that's why my podcasts have to be fitted for the Salem News Channel. Okay. And I drink a lot. All right, Gabe, let's roll this thing. And I've got, all right. Welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. All right, so getting back to this trade stuff that I told myself I wasn't going to stick to for a long time. I got other things that I want to bring up, and I will shortly here, but I do want to make mention. Of this. I pulled up this column earlier, and now I've got like 1,000 columns on my phone that I'm currently scrolling through right now. Good Lord. Sorry, guys. Okay, here it is. This from Breitbart. General Motors to expand production at Indiana plant thanks to Trump's auto tariff. So General Motors plans to expand production at one of its plants in Indiana thanks to Trump. On Wednesday evening, yesterday, Trump announced the 25% tariff on all foreign-made cars to protect the nation's auto industry from unfair trade competition. Okay, we know that. GM executives said they will be increasing production of light-duty trucks at the automaker's Fort Wayne assembly plant in Indiana. And these trucks, if I'm not mistaken, are these light-duty. They look like mini diesel trucks, basically. The Detroit, this is from, who is this from? This is a quote from Reuters. The Detroit automaker may also add overtime days to the schedule. Plant director Denise Pimenta told employees in the webcast. The moves will increase employment there with the hiring of several hundred temporary workers, according to a company source. See, I want some full-time work there. As Breitbart News reported, the United Auto Workers have praised Trump's auto tariffs as a necessary tool to end the nation's decades-long free trade policy that has devastated American auto workers. And honestly, I don't think it's just about auto workers. It's about listen, everybody, mechanics, people like my brother that does detailing. I mean, he does detailing on, I mean, fancy cars. He makes a living doing it. Um, so it can impact a lot of people, not just the union workers. And so this kind of stuff is important. So it's good to see. In this case, this is what tariffs are meant for. I do believe that we need some stability with that. April 2nd was the day, Liberation Day, where we have these reciprocal tariffs, but there still are some questions. I think that needs to be tightened up. I do believe there needs to be some better messaging. Still, I want to move on from this. We talked about that issue with the stabbing. A couple of videos that I want to play for you as well, just to remind you who the Democrat Party is. This is cut. If we could get cut number 55 ready, Gabe. This happened. I believe this happened today or yesterday, but I think it's important. Democrats are trying to all of a sudden. Isn't it amazing? I can't stand politics. If you understand that politics is like political theater. My buddy Christopher Hart of the American Adversaries, I thought I had the book in here, wrote a book called Politics and Pro Wrestling, How to Understand the Mayhem. Find that on, I think it's politicsandprowrestling.com. If you read that book and you understand how much of politics is political theater, you will be amused by it, and you will get it on a different level. You will get it on a different level. And you probably do already, frankly, if you're listening to podcasts like this. But so much of it is political theater. But Gabe, let's play cut number 55. These are Georgia Democrats. They are walking out. They're making a stand. I'm telling you, this party has nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go. Why we don't have a spokesman out on the Republican Party reminding people of how horrible the Democrat Party is, reminding people of everything they suffered through financially when it came to Joe Biden. It blows my mind. Trump, I'll do it. I'll do it. You want me? I'll do it. I just every day. Caroline Levitt can do her press conference. I'll be out there in the podium somewhere in back of the White House. I don't even care. All I'll do is just read off a litany of all the crap that Democrats put us through for the last several years. All right, let's go to cut number 55, please, Gabe.
There was this kid.
Oh no, sorry.
Before I knew his name.
Do we have cut 55?
Name now?
Not
There
this.
was.
Do we have cut 55? Okay. All right. So while Gabe gets that together, basically Georgia House Democrats, they left the chamber to protest a Republican bill to block taxpayer money being spent on prison inmates for gender affirming care. So basically, you had men that wanted to become women. They can never become women. Forgive me for saying that. I'm sorry. All right. Men that wanted to pretend as if they were women, basically to mutilate their bodies. Democrats walked out on that because Republicans said they didn't want taxpayers paying for that. Now, guys, I want you to understand that the Georgia Republicans aren't that great, just like our Florida legislature. They have to be dragged kicking and screaming by Governor Ron DeSantis. A lot of people don't understand that. You get these great governors, and then you got these crappy legislators. So they have that in Georgia too. They have the same problem that we have here in Florida. But look at what they've done. These people, they have nowhere to go. They don't know. The modus operandi for the Democrat Party is going to be to tear Trump down. That's it. That's all they're going to do. They're never going to come with solutions. So if you're wondering if Democrats are going to ever come for solutions, are they ever going to learn their lesson? You'll save yourself a lot of stress if you know the answer is always no. It's all about the show. It is all about political theater. It's all about trying to drag down Trump's poll numbers and to make Trump toxic to other Republicans. All right, so let's play this. I've been talking enough. Cut number 55, please, Gabe.
Yeah, I better get in there.
So prison inmates, Democrats are walking out. Georgia Democrats are walking out because they want prison inmates to be able to mutilate their bodies, and they want Georgia taxpayers to pay for it. This is your Democrat Party. This is the Democrat Party. What do they stand for? What do they? Everything they stand for. And I'm not talking about your average layman. I'm not talking about your neighbor. You may have the sweetest neighbor ever that happens to be a Democrat, but the Democrat Party, the actual politicians, the leadership, they are morally bankrupt. They stand for I shouldn't say they stand for nothing. They stand for the dumbest and craziest stuff ever. And they're not going to learn their lesson because these are people that don't believe in God, or at least don't abide by the word of God. And so they're going to make all of these things their God. So they want to feel morally righteous. Oh man, a man wants to be a woman, or a man wants to go into a women. Are you crazy putting a man in a women's prison? I mean, this is just insane to me. But it's not the Democrats. It's not the Democrats. And this is stuff that we need to remember. There's a story out there. This was on X earlier. Guys, please follow me on X. Let me find it. It's hard to say repost it. I like retweeted better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Elon. I love you, but tweeting just sounds better. All right, let me see if I can find it. Where did I post it? What is this? Oh, that was another Doge discovery. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Let me click on the link. Okay, so the DNC, along with the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, have filed a lawsuit against former President President Trump over an executive order over President Trump. I don't know why I said former. Over an executive order he signed to prevent non-citizens from voting in U.S. elections. Non-citizen voting is already illegal under current U.S. law. I'm reading directly from X. The lawsuit argues that the executive order oversteps presidential authority and could disenfranchise eligible voters. They're talking about illegals. By imposing additional voting restrictions, Republicans have supported the executive order, claiming it is necessary to protect the integrity of elections, while Democrats argue that it perpetuates myths about non-citizen voting and could lead to voter suppression. I told you. Democrats want a new slave trade. That's all this is about. You know it, and I know it. I'm almost embarrassed that I got to come to you with this. That's what they want. They just want a new slave trade. Listen to this. Hat tip: the Populist Times exposed illegal immigrants infiltrated voter rolls, exploit Medicaid after obtaining social security numbers without IDs. This came out just a couple of days ago. So Musk has uncovered an alarming surge in social security numbers awarded to illegal immigrants. Actually, I have the video out there somewhere. I can't find it right now. I should have searched for it earlier. All right. So Musk uncovered an alarming surge in social security numbers that were awarded to illegals ahead of the 2024 election, right before the 2024 election, allowing them to collect social benefits and, most importantly, vote during the elections. So this is why the left is going apoplectic. This is why Trump, well, not only, I mean, we got to have a country. You don't have borders, all right? If you don't have sovereignty, you don't have a nation. But this was the new Negro vote. This is what me and my former co-host back in the day, Mickey Alvarez, we coined it the new Negro vote. We believe that, listen, blacks, sadly, were too many black women were killing their babies, aborting their babies, or now just not even having babies, basically aborting their babies. And so there needed to be a replacement. So you've got a bunch of white liberals, especially in white liberal women, sadly, that have bought into this woke stuff, hook, line, and sinker. And then you get illegal aliens out here, and you never give them the American dream. You don't want them to have the American dream. You want them to be a perpetual underclass. You want them to vote for you. We're going to give you goodies. You don't have to assimilate. We don't even want you to work for the American dream because we don't want that for you. But we're going to give you a bunch of goodies. You just vote for us. I mean, this is insane. According to Doge, the number of illegal immigrants with social security numbers surged more than sevenfold from 270,000 in 2021 to 2.1 million in 2024. All right, guys, we'll be back to close this out. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Or actually, was that it? I'm okay. So I meant to close out the show, to be honest with you guys. I want to do one more segment if Gabe doesn't pimp slap me. If that's okay with you, Gabe. Do we have anybody online? Okay, no comments. Okay. So in that case, let me take a swig and we'll get right to it. We'll close it out with this segment. Just a couple more things that I'd like to bring to your attention. Okay. Um, okay. All right. Let's do this, Gabe. I don't know what clip this is. All right, welcome back to the podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. Again, subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. YouTube is very important. Rumble is very important. If you guys don't mind, Salem Podcast Network. Honestly, anywhere you go to get your podcast, but please subscribe. But if you're on YouTube and Rumble, if you rate and review the podcast, that's a big help. And again, follow me on all things social media: X, Instagram, and Facebook at Carl Jackson Show, at the Carl Jackson Show. All right, so this is a big story too. We just talked about illegal immigrants. The amount of illegals voting in the election surged again from 2021 to 2024 in 3 years, all during Biden's presidency. 270,000 to 2.1 million. You don't. We better get every single illegal alien out of this country that we can. Every single one. And the fact that Democrats are out there, literally out there fighting for the MS-13. Oh, he doesn't have his due. Honestly, I am so sick of it. I don't even understand it. I need some legalese when it comes to this. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I need an attorney on this. I don't understand how an illegal alien has due process rights because they've touched our soil, because some of these laws have to change. CNN has probably admitted that they prefer Soros over Musk because Musk is too transparent. The Democrats are letting you know exactly who they are. I've got another video that I want to play too as well. I hope that we have it. A lady that's a fencer, the sport of fencing, that took a knee for women's rights. And I think that's important. I think people are just over and done with this stuff. But I do want to go to Gabe, if we can get video clip number 64. Video clip number 64 ready. CNN again admitted that they prefer Soros over Elon Musk because George Soros keeps it on the down low. I mean, this is sick. Now I'm gonna share with you the difference between George Soros and Elon Musk. Let's go ahead and roll that, por favor, Gabe. Cut number whatever that was.
What's interesting about it is you heard anytime anybody brings this up, a Republican will say, well, what about J.B. Pritzker and what about George Soros and what about this, what about that? And I guess the answer is you don't see George, first of all,
George Soros
you don't see them out there talking.
Yeah. No.
Right? I mean, they might be giving money to organizations, this and that, and people can criticize that
They
if
all
they want.
do. They all
But the idea that like, oh no, I am going to tell these voters, forget like hiring Scott Walker to do it or somebody on the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm going to tell them.
Right. No, he has to suck up all the oxygen. There's only one other person that needs more attention, is Donald Trump. And
Okay, guys, what's the difference between George Soros, even J.D. Pritzker, but George Soros? Let's focus on him. All right, and by the way, Elon Musk was the left billionaire until he bought Twitter and realized, oh my goodness, I have been working with a completely, utterly corrupt party, so I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. But what's the difference between George Soros, guys? Remember what USA discovered with George Soros. So here we thought, and he was doing it. George Soros was funding, a lot of these woke state attorneys across the country that were, just completely woke, letting criminals out of jail to go ahead and assault you and assault your mother and your daughters and all that kind of stuff. So George Soros was behind that. But remember what he was doing specifically when it came to USA. Do you guys remember what he was doing? What George Soros was doing was he was setting up almost like a shell company, not quite there, but he would set up a company, NGO, for a minimal amount of money. All right. This is what he was doing. He should be in prison. I don't understand why this fool isn't in prison. All right. So setting up these NGOs, and then he would get funded by U.S. aid. Now, thank God, U.S. aid is all but gone. I mean, it's what they wiped it out for the most part. So I'm so thankful for that. But that's the difference. Elon Musk is a patriot that wants to build America, that wants to make America great again, that wants to help Trump bring more jobs to America, that wants to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. George Soros, in my opinion, was the criminal that was stealing our tax dollars in a Ponzi scheme along with the left to set up NGOs to build left-wing activist organizations across the country without anybody knowing. It's night and day. And these people are just talking about, well, George Soros isn't out there. I wish he was out there. I wish he was being honest and not stealing our taxpayer money. This is a mainstream media outlet. This is just insane. It is just insane. Oh, here it is. Female fencer. I want to share with you this video because I think this is so important because we are getting some wins and there's some cultural wins. I hope that I sent this video to Tony. Do we have the video of the fencer by chance, Gabe? You know, I'm talking about the woman with the sword, if you will. If not, I'll play a couple. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Thank God. It's the first one. Cut number 54. I want to play you guys this video. And I just think it's so important because Americans overwhelmingly are fed up and Democrats are doubling down on this stuff because, again, they have nowhere to go. This is their value system. You know, why won't they change? Why won't they learn their lesson? Because this is the leftism is the left's morality. I mean, it's essentially that. All right. So, okay. So let's play cut number 54. Por favor, Gabe. Look at this is supposed to be a man. Okay, so this is the boy pretending to be a girl coming to the real woman. What's the story behind this? Okay, we can shut the video down. Let me just give you the synopsis real quick because this was on from the New York Post, the Post Millennial. So basically, the female fencer took the knee during the match against a boy pretending to be a woman. Resulting in a female student receiving a black card and being kicked out. So the female playing in the female sport was the one kicked out. The Independent Council on Women's Sports, known as Icons, wrote that the female opponent of trans-identified male fencer Redmond Sullivan was expelled from a USA fencing event that took place at the University of Maryland. The two fencers are seen setting up to compete. You guys just saw the video, basically. After receiving a black card for refusing to compete against a man, Redmond Sullivan's female opponent was expelled from the USA fencing event at the University of Maryland. Sullivan fenced for the men's team at Wagner College last season before switching to the women's team this season. I think what frustrates me the most about this nonsense is that there aren't more men. There aren't more men standing up for the women. But honestly, things weren't going to change until women started standing up and more are standing up. Women are saying enough is enough. It's laughable. It is laughable that the Democrat Party is the party that stands up for women's rights. I'm not even sure if the left knows what women's rights. Last story that I'll bring you before we close. And please don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube. Let me just say YouTube, Rumble. That would really help. Salem Podcast Network, but wherever you go to get your podcast, just subscribe. That would be so helpful. But this woke stuff has run its course. The left is never going to realize it because that's been their identity. Fake identity has been their identity. This last one, Star Wars actor John, I don't even know his name, Boyega, claims fans are white elitists. So actor John Boyega claims that Star Wars fans, this from the Daily Wire hat tip, are prejudiced against black actors and will only tolerate them being cast in minor roles. The 33-year-old British star achieved global fame for his role as Finn in Star Wars The Force Awakens 2015. Boyega made the remarks during the new Apple TV documentary #1 on the call sheet, Black Leading Men in Hollywood. He was upset that his character was not better developed and concluded that the fans didn't want that to happen. The bosses didn't want you to be a lead actor. I mean, I'm just so sick and tired of hearing this stuff. So the left wants you focused on Trump. They want to tell you that the sky is falling. They didn't care that they destroyed the economy for 4 years. They don't care about that. They don't care about the fact that they brought in a bunch of illegal aliens to compete for middle class jobs and actually bring down the pay scale for middle class workers. They don't care about that. They don't care about the jobs that they destroyed during the COVID lockdowns. But all of a sudden, they're concerned about tariffs, even though Joe Biden kept the Chinese tariffs on China that Trump had implemented. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.